Welcome back to the Mind and Money podcast. I'm Val, a financial planner.
And I'm Sherry, a financial coach. And today we're going to dive into all things grocery, food shopping, Costco, tips to save, what we do, ADHD-friendly things that can help make sure you don't have 7 jars of pasta sauce in your cupboard or your pantry, because that tends to happen. So the first thing is when it comes to grocery budgets, these have been going up for my clients because things have been getting more costly. But Val, what are you seeing as far as grocery spending recently?
Okay, so as you probably see too, Sherry, is when we first meet with clients, there's a lot of unawareness or disconnect between what they think they spend and what they actually spend. The first step is looking at a track record, like look at the last 3 months or last month and see what you've spent. They have been going up and up and up, especially if you have any dietary restrictions, kids, like teenagers. So I've been seeing that once we're aware of the number, that's a huge place to start, is like, how much are we actually spending on groceries? And usually with that number comes a little bit of shock.
And it's interesting to see too how we do things a little differently with our clients. For me, clients get some prep work to fill out before our first session. And it's like, give me your information on your income and your expenses. And a lot of it is ballparking because people don't want to go through their transaction. And it's sometimes interesting to see how differently this gets filled out. Some clients send it back to me and there's a lot of blank space and we've got to talk through and work through, which is fine. And some clients, I spend $172.67 on gas every 2 weeks. So some go very into detail and some are in avoidance mode, which is very common. But for the ones who haven't gone through the transactions, instead of going through them, because that can create a lot of tension and shame, we're guesstimating how much do you spend in a week and how often do you go? And then we're looking for strategies for managing that. So it's like, this is what you want to spend. How can we get there? And for some people, a month or two, and they're like, I obviously did not pick the right amount because this is not working and we have to pivot and adjust, and that's okay. But for some people, going through the transactions is very overwhelming for them. But for me personally, I haven't looked recently, but I think between Costco and groceries, we're 2 adults, just my hubby and I, we've been spending about $600-$650 a month. And we are Canadian, in case you didn't know. 2 adults, $600-$650, with the bulk of like meat. I'm trying to think of what else we buy at Costco. Meat and stuff. Dairy. When I go to Costco, I kind of try to do everything so that we're not going to the grocery store for a period of time because we're getting everything at Costco, but then only go every 2 to 3 months. So obviously have to stock up on groceries between that.
So I want to go back to your clients for a second. When you're doing the guesstimate and then you're living through it and finding like, oh crap, I didn't put enough into this category, essentially. Do you then just increase the category or do you go back and look at what is it?
It depends. Sometimes initially, like if a client is guesstimating an amount that I'm like, ooh, that's not going to be enough, we then talk through it a little more and maybe we bump it up a little bit, just from what I know from other clients and families. But if we come back and there's not enough in this account, I'm not having enough wiggle room for all of these things, then generally we'll just increase it if it's a little bit. And then if we increase it and then it's still not enough or they're always overspending, then we sometimes go back and review transactions. But it's more about like looking forward and figuring out how can you make this budget work, because working with enough clients all over Canada and the US, I've got a pretty good idea of what works. And yeah, dietary restrictions is a big thing to consider as well. Parents tend to have some expectations sometimes around kids and their expectations. So if kids always expect there's always going to be this in the pantry, there's always going to be this in the fridge, that can pressure parents to then feel they're like, we're out of blueberries, we have to go to the grocery store. We're out of fruit snacks, we have to go to the grocery store. But your kids aren't going to starve if there's not their premium selections there. So one of the big strategies that I use to reduce our grocery bill is to go grocery shopping less. And yes, it's easier with just 2 adults. But if you can go every 8 days, 9 days, 10 days instead of once a week, that can stretch things out if you lean on your pantry and lean on your freezer. And I know it's not necessarily practical from a life standpoint, because if you've got time to go every Sunday or every Monday, going weekly is going to make the most sense. But my recommendation is to go max once a week. plan for your week.
Yes, I completely agree.
Get in your pantry, because every time you go for one thing or two things. It's never just one thing or two things. It's always at least $40, even if you went for milk.
Yes, you're going to see something. You're going to pick it up. I concur. I don't want to go more than once a week. Knowing what you have on hand, I recently put a sticky note on my fridge to put, because there's typically multiple freezers, potentially multiple fridges. So going through them and being like, oh yeah, I have this, just as a reminder for being like, oh yeah, I have chicken in the basement. If I'm looking for a meal to make, to remind yourself of that, and then to not go and buy it again. 99% of the time, if I'm in the grocery store, I cannot remember what's at home. And then I will bring home the salad dressing or the pasta sauce that you're like, oh, I already had that. So looking at what you have, and use ChatGPT to help you make that meal plan or to help you make that list of, okay, what can I do with this? The premium snacks thing. You don't always have to have those things. Your children will be fine.
You don't have anything to eat. Okay, we just don't have the things that you really want to eat. I do it a little differently. Instead of keeping track of what I have, I use the Notes app in my phone, and it's shared with my husband, and we put things on there when we identify that we need them, specifically for Costco. Because the grocery store is, I don't go to the grocery store to shop myself. Bless online grocery ordering.
that was on there next.
We have an online grocery app, and my husband and I, again, both have it on our phones. And when we need something that's from the grocery store, we immediately go and add it to the app, to the order, so that next time I order, it's already there. We don't have to think about it. So instead of having the need something, put it on a list, then go to the store and order it, or then add it to the app, we just get rid of the list part, except for Costco, because then and I also on Costco have a list of the things that we regularly buy there, so that I can go before I go to Costco, look at the things we regularly buy, and then check to see if we
what
need
your
them.
stock is.
Yeah.
So I do the same thing. I do that more so than the list on the fridge. That was a recent thing to try, to be like, what's out there that's just getting freezer burnt that needs to be eaten. But then I do have I call it grocery, but I'll put something if it needs to go to the dollar store, Costco. If something has run out or is close to running out, it goes on there. So then when someone is going, it's there and it's accessible. Am I the only one that uses it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Having everybody use it
would be so ideal.
It means that there's an extra support for that thing. And you just know, hey, if somebody wants something, they know to put it on the list. If they don't, well, then too bad. So sad.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And in that Notes app, that's primarily Costco, I do have a drugstore and so if I need other things, and it kind of
more like household sort of thing.
Sometimes it just becomes, I do have to actually go to the grocery store because I need something today and I don't have time to order. So what are the urgent things? And then every time before I order, I just, hey, Jason, is there anything you need? I'm going to put an order in for tomorrow, so that it's his just like mental check of things that he might need that I haven't considered. So it's ordering online is so beneficial for so many reasons. Not only does it save you time, it saves you money because you're not walking around the store putting things in your cart that they specifically market to you, that are on the end caps of the aisles, that there's these big numbers about what a deal they are. Also, you know the total. If you know you want to spend X amount at the grocery store every week, you know the total before you put your order through online. And if it's more than what you wanted to spend, you can go back and be like,
something else. What don't I need?
What can I take out? What's not essential to the plan that I had for my meals this week? And then you can have it so that it's within your budget. The one disadvantage is if you're spending really tight and you're not using a credit card and you only have like $150 in your account that's set aside for groceries, and you're going to order online, they generally add a buffer to, like, if you put your order through and they think it's going to be $130, they're adding X amount on top of that to make sure
there's a substitution. But then you can choose no substitutions.
Yeah. Or if I think a lot of it is the produce too, the weight, depending on, so that can be a challenge if you're using a separate account for your groceries and you're tight on your budget. You might need to consider having a bit of a buffer in there, because the truth is, for many of my clients who are learning to manage their money differently and have ADHD, using a credit card is not the best fit because it adds, again, an extra step. You're having to put your order in, put it on the credit card, and then, especially for online ordering where they first charge that extra and then correct it, you're not able to necessarily go in and pay it right away, but you could go and pay it off when you pick up your groceries and you know the exact amount. But it's just anywhere we can eliminate extra steps just makes life so much easier. And just, I kind of took a tangent there, shocker. But like, if you're overspending and you're at the grocery store, the embarrassment of, shit, I know I only have $150 in my account, and that thing she's just scanning puts me over. And then you're like, now I have to go and put some things back, or crap, I'll just pull out a different card that's for something else. And then it's like dominoes and you mess the rest of your plans up.
Yeah. And I, for one, know that when I was before online shopping or online grocery pickup, when I'm going through, I'm not able to keep close enough tally of what it's going to be.
Yeah,
my brain's like, no.
And some things have tax, some things don't have tax.
Yes.
It's too much to do. If you're trying to do mental math, no. But I've done this before when Shoppers Drug Mart has a points.
Yes.
Spend X amount, get X amount. And I'm always like, I'll actually go around with my phone and add it up.
Yeah.
And I don't know how. I'm always way under because I'm like, well, I want to make sure I get at least the X amount to get my 20,000 points. No, I'm way over. So
over. Okay.
I'm trying to spend $60. It's like 75. I'm like, oh, I thought it was going to be like 62 just because I probably throw something in, but it's just, I think the nervousness of if I'm buying these things just to get the 20,000 points and I don't get them, I'm going to be pissed off.
I see. Okay. So I would say too, like, do you make a meal plan or do you just know, well, you have like meals of habit, say?
Yeah. And we're two adults. We're boring. We have similar things pretty often and we'll eat leftovers without. Adults are generally so much easier to just feed versus kids.
Right. And if you're not making, I'll say lunches for multiples, but if you are trying to get a grip on that in advance of your week and putting out, okay, what am I going to pack? And then what do I need for that? And then putting that together in that list, like having a bit of a grocery system, because it is a lot. It is a big piece of the puzzle.
Well, and especially if you've got busy weeks, if you've got kids in sports and you've got kids in all of these different things during the week, figuring out, taking an hour, 45 minutes once a week to look at what does that coming week look like? What days do we have things that we're super busy and what can we do? Maybe it's throwing something in the slow cooker. Maybe it's making a bigger meal on Sunday so that you can have it for leftovers on Tuesday, and just figuring out how you can align that to make your life and your budget and all things easier. And then one of the big challenges for a lot of people that kind of Costco shop or Sam's Club or whatever that is in a similar time frame to what I do, so like once a month, every couple of months, is how do we budget for that? And what I do is I know I am a nerd in this and I like to do it. So it's easier for me because I'm actually planning it out in my cash flow. So I budget a certain amount every pay for Costco, and then I just roll it forward. I can't remember what it is. I think it's like $125 every 2-week pay period. So if if I went last week and I don't go next pay, then I'll just roll that 125 and make the next like pay period be 250 and continue to do that until I actually go. But if this is an effective strategy for you, maybe Costco gets its own account somewhere where you actually are moving that money every pay period or every 2 weeks or whatever frequency works for you to specifically identify this is my Costco money. Or maybe it's cash. Maybe you take cash out and put it in an envelope to take to Costco with you, like figuring out a way to separate it so that it's clear, this is my Costco money, don't touch it.
Right. And a way to have it there for you, I'll say, because walking into Costco, you can spend $500. You don't know how, but you did it. So I find that, especially if you're going in without a plan, just like
you got to have a list.
Just like with the grocery store, there's going to be things that you're like, oh, that's cool. Oh, what about that? Oh, I'll just put that in my cart, and $20 and $20 and $20. And I've done it myself. And I'm like, how did that bill get so high?
Yeah, it can be alarming.
Yeah.
And again, and maybe this works at the grocery store and Costco too, but if you've got your budget for Costco, if you're going to the self-checkout, scanning the things that you know you need and then leaving the things that you know you want but don't necessarily need until last. And then maybe it's a, hey, nice Costco attendant, 3 things in my cart that I would like to not get. So it's a way you can keep an eye on what the cost of things is, because Costco can, in the blink of an eye, just end up being $500 when you budgeted $300 because They've got some cool stuff there, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. So we're sharing a whole bunch of tips about grocery shopping, about what we do, about different strategies you can use. I would say like the biggest one to start is give yourself whether it's going back at transactions or giving an idea of what you think you'll spend. And for the next 30 days or the next month, see what you spend on groceries. Make a plan. I mean, including your kids and your spouse is always going to help to alleviate or give someone a certain task, but don't be afraid to delegate. And when you're going through, don't be afraid to be like, yeah, I'm actually not going to get those things.
Well, and too, an aside, obviously, but when your kids are older, starting to get them involved in making a meal every week and planning for what that meal is going to cost and making sure that they have the ingredients that they need, because they might hate you in the moment right now. But if they're going off to college or university, or when they're moving out on their own, they will be glad that they have this skill. And it's like, hey, you're part of the household. It's something that you can do to support the household and also learn skills to feed yourself in your adulthood.
Life skills.
Yeah. The first step is definitely having a budget and understanding how much you want to spend on groceries, and then finding the strategies that help you align your spending to what you've got budgeted. And it's not easy. There's a learning curve when you first do it. It's harder. The more you do it, it gets a whole lot easier. And it's one area that I think we did an episode about the biggest things in our budget are generally our housing and our transportation. And somebody on YouTube was like, hey, I spend more on food than I spend on transportation. I think that's becoming more valid, that food is being pushed up there. Definitely in the top 3, I think, with what people are spending the most money on.
I would
every
agree.
month.
But I know where we were coming from is like the larger purchases. But yes, every month. So you and Jason are 700 for 2 adults ish.
Like 600, 650 generally. Okay. I haven't looked in the last month, but I think that's what it was for last year.
So I recently worked with clients where family of 4 was 1,400. Another family of 3, so 2 adults and a kid, was 1,200. Mind you, for some of them, pet food is in there too. Yeah. Probably safe to say adults. Like I know but you and Jason are more mindful and more conscious. So I'm going to say like 400 per adult and 200 per kid, maybe, like as a ballpark.
Well, it depends on where you're living.
This is true.
Too,
this is talking Ontario, Canada.
And also one thing that we completely didn't touch on is where you grocery shop matters so much. Yeah. Going to the lower cost grocery stores is going to save hundreds every month. And I know they're not as fancy and they don't have all of the things that you think you need, but you can probably find things that are close enough in the lower cost grocery stores. So definitely,
go primarily to.
I'm a no frills shopper.
Yes. Okay. I am a no frills as well, but have gone to Superstore and Zehrs for years previously, which are all under the same Loblaws umbrella. Dollars of difference for this exact same item.
Yep. And at the cottage, the closest Loblaws one is, not that I specifically support them, but is a Royal Canadian Superstore. And yeah, the prices are significantly more per item. And that's just the items that I specifically remember the cost of. So generally, if I can't get like a no frills, Food Basics, and then the next would be Walmart. And yeah, they're all big conglomerates. And it's definitely a monopoly here in Canada with specific grocery food people definitely controlling the market. But you've got to go with what works for you. And for me, that's no frills, because they do have low cost. And when they started doing online ordering here, it was a win for me, because then I can pay $1 for somebody else to pick my food. And I just thought of this, like in my brain, I'm offsetting that I prefer to do self-checkout if I go grocery shopping in person. So by then doing online ordering, I'm getting even with the employment hours that I'm helping, like the jobs that I'm creating, maintaining.
I can sleep at night.
Because I don't know, I like self-checkout because then I'm not a small talk person.
I like self-checkout. I kind of race myself.
Yeah.
If I do go in.
Yeah.
It's like I try to do it as fast as I can. So that is our tangent on groceries, on knowing numbers, saving dollars.
Yeah, don't let your groceries overwhelm the crap out of you with your budget, because we don't like that for you. And pay attention, have a budget, and figure out what frequency works for you. All right, thanks for listening, and we will see you next time on the Mind and Money podcast.